If I could somehow cover up this badge and get you to drive this car for what it is and not for who makes it, I think you would be very surprised with the Buick Verano Turbo. That's right. You know, a lot of people are surprised today just what great cars Buick is making, but they're also wondering, well, who's buying these cars? Are they 60-year-old people? Well, not this thing. This has 250 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. This is a high-performance compact sedan from Buick that is beating Acura at its own game with their ILX Sport. If the specs on this engine sound familiar, well, they should. This is the same base engine that they put into the Regal GS. This is GM's 2-liter 4-cylinder direct injected turbo engine. It's a screamer. It's a lot of fun to drive. And if you're wondering just how fast you can get to 60 miles an hour, how about 6 seconds? The inside of the Verano Turbo is relatively nondescript. In fact, I covered up this badge when I picked up my friend and asked him to guess what vehicle he's in. As you can see, you just have a lot of buttons, maybe too many buttons, but it works. You gotta consider this is a $31,000 car that goes from 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds, has 250 horsepower, and you can get it with a manual. So it's a lot of fun to drive. Now, a lot of enthusiasts are gonna say, you know what, Ron, for about that money, I can get a WRX, which is a way better car. No argument. However, you know what? When you get a little bit older and you're a little more grown up, you still want to have fun, you need to have a more luxurious or premium car. And you know what? The Verano Turbo, it fits the bill. GM calls the Verano a world car, but it's essentially an Opel. As you can see, a lot of quirkiness going on here, starting with the trunk release button. There's no way to open the trunk from the back. You need the key fob or pushing this button. One of the quirky design elements of the Verano and Verano Turbo is this front little angled window. I understand why they did it, but the execution is not that great because it's such a thick area here that you could barely see anything out of it. Again, this goes back to some of the Opel influence of this vehicle. For those of you who like that, it works. If you don't, well, I guess it doesn't. The Verano Turbo has been a lot of fun to drive. Spending a full week with it, you really get to appreciate the technology behind this vehicle. And when you look at what else is in the segment, the answer is really not much. So if you're looking for that compact form factor, something that's still fun to drive, front wheel drive, but has good horsepower, not a lot of options in the segment. The manual transmission makes it a ton of fun. I think at $31,000, you could probably get it for closer to $28,000. I think it's a pretty good value. Seats are comfortable. Yeah, the steering is a little bit soft. They could certainly use a little GS mode in there, but overall, not a bad vehicle for the price. I just think it's going to fall under the radar, and not a lot of people are going to take a look at it outside of Detroit, and that's a shame.